Hi guys and welcome to Full House Sports, here with myself Charlie. A reminder before the video starts to please give us a like and a subscribe. Please give us a follow as well on social media, whether that be Instagram or X or TikTok. And of course, please give us a like on Facebook as well. A website is dropping soon, featuring news, views and opinions on all things sport to help you stay on the ball. Right, I hope we've all got that Friday feeling. I know I certainly have, but for football fans, that feeling's probably a little bit flat, unless, of course, you're a fan of a League One or League Two side or below, because it is the international break. It is upon us. 3 games in, they give us a tease. They say, oh, you can have club football back, and then they drop this on us. Fortunately, I will be at Villa Park tomorrow for us to play when we play against Andorra. But this video isn't going to be a preview of that game because I think it's an England win as a given. If not, then something's really, really gone wrong. I will point out just quickly, I will put it on the record that I do think the Serbia game on Tuesday is a potential banana skin. More on that later. But I do think that'll be a toughie for England. But today's video is more about what I want to see from England, not just in this game, but also in the Serbia game. Because I think this is a chance for some of the players who perhaps weren't in contention for a spot on that plane to America to really stake their claim. None more so than, of course, Elliott Anderson. Now, I will admit I am biased because I am a Forest fan who watches Elliott Anderson most weeks. But I kid you not, this kid is dynamite. And I truly believe that he could be the answer to England's midfield problems. For ages, we were saying about who could play next to Declan Rice. Obviously, at the World Cup, at the Euros, we tried to shoehorn Trent in there. It didn't really work. We ended up playing Kobbie Mainoo, who I do think is a class act. Unfortunately, his United career seems to be stuttering at the moment. But I hope this international break, Thomas Tuchel gives players like Elliott Anderson and others as well that I will speak about the chance to shine. Because, listen, the Andorra game is probably not a fair judge on anyone because they are part-timers, they're not professional. But you'd hope that he would give those players a chance against Serbia, even in an intimidating atmosphere, against a team that has got players in and around Europe's top clubs. You'd hope these players are given the chance to prove themselves in that atmosphere. I know it's a risk, and I know people will say, yeah, but if he does that and loses, he'll be hung out to dry. And you're right, Thomas Tuchel probably will be heavily criticised for that. But the flip side of that coin is, England are going to qualify for this World Cup. That's a given. The expanded tournament basically makes it impossible for the top nations to not qualify. So you might as well give them a chance. And I don't just mean Elliott Anderson. I mean Djed Spence as well. I'd like to see him given a chance. England, yes, we've got a very strong right-back contingent. But it still feels a little bit like we don't have a first-choice right-back. You know, Kyle Walker is done. I think that was fair to say. I watched the Senegal game in May or June. I can't remember, at the City Ground. It was pretty clear to me he'd lost a yard or two, and I think that showed. And, you know, I know we've not got long to the World Cup, but for me, we've got to start looking at different options in that position. And I think Djed Spence, who has come on leaps and bounds at Spurs, let's not forget that he was struggling really at Tottenham and is then, it seems to be flourishing, and it's fantastic to see. Players like him and Elliott Anderson, I do think could be the answer to the question marks that we've got. Listen, I'm not saying that we're going to win a World Cup if we play Djed Spence or Elliott Anderson, but you'd hope that both will be given a chance and be kept in mind, that this isn't just a stopgap for the so-called bigger names to potentially get in. On that note, Jordan Henderson, the Mackem elephant in the room. Is this a permanent plan? Is this Tuchel's way of saying he's going to go to the World Cup. He's sticking around. I actually spoke to a Brentford fan who went to their game against Sunderland the other week, and he said that for 60 minutes, I'll confess I didn't watch the game, he said for 60 minutes that they were controlling the game, and when Henderson went off, they fell to bits. Food for thought, maybe. I mean, I think a lot of the anger when he was getting picked was sourced from the fact he wasn't playing at Ajax. But he is playing at Brentford. But it does feel like a case of let's just keep him round. And, I think Roy Keane infamously said it, didn't he? I can't remember who he was talking about when he said, what does he do? Does he organise quizzes? Does he do games nights? Or whatever it was he said on RTV. I can't remember. And that is sort of my thing with Henderson is he picking him because, he genuinely thinks he's got a job to serve? Or is he picking him because he's good round the group? Because if he's picking him because he's good round the group, could he not go in another role, a consultancy role or something like that? Because whatever role it is at the minute he's doing, it's not exactly setting the world alight. Like I say, this break, I'd like to see players who aren't around always given the chance to shine. I must say, I love the Ruben Loftus-Cheek call-up. I've been calling for it for a few years. Any friends of mine will tell you that I have been. I watch a lot of Serie A. I love Serie A as a league. And I know it gets a fair bit of stick still in this country as being slow and defensive. But Ruben Loftus-Cheek's been important at a massive club like AC Milan. He knows pressure. It's pressure to play for AC Milan. There's no denying that. And for him to get to back in the English squad after 7 years, what was it he said? He said, I'll become a fan. Is absolutely fantastic. There's those who say, oh, well, he's only gone because Tuchel likes him from Chelsea. But I'm over the moon for him. And like I say, if you've watched AC Milan these last few years, you will know how important he has been to this side in the midfield. And he's another one because we're permanently looking for answers to the debate of who can play next to Declan Rice. And obviously Adam Wharton's injury is less than ideal. I think he's a prime candidate for that. I think he'll be world class in a few years' time. I really rate Adam Wharton. But hopefully Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Elliott Anderson can maybe provide some sort of answers for that. I certainly don't think Jordan Henderson's the answer to that. I think that's a given. But who knows? Maybe he'll hit form at Brentford. Like I say, I'm intrigued to see I'm intrigued to see what tomorrow will be like. I hope England provide plenty of goals. You'd think against Andorra at home they would. I know away wasn't great last time. But let's know what you guys think. Should Elliott Anderson and Ruben Loftus-Cheek go to the World Cup? Or if not, who is going to place them? Who should be playing next to Declan Rice? Thank you.